Hello there, it's Ruth Sherman, CEO and celebrity speech and media coach. And today I want to continue talking about managing your leadership message in turbulent times. Look, we're definitely facing some headwinds, right? Some weird fluctuations and swoons in the markets, and customers and clients aren't feeling as flush as they did at this time last year. I'm certainly seeing customers and prospects taking more time making decisions, but there are ways to speak with them and to navigate this that will absolutely show you to be more effective than your competition, and I want to talk about that today. So first I want to share a story with you. I am working with a client. This is a person in the mortgage industry, and you might imagine that the mortgage industry has faced some pretty tough times in the past year. They've been at the forefront because of the rising interest rates, which directly and heavily impacts their businesses. So what happens when interest rates rise is that it puts pressure on home prices. So here's how this client is telling stories to customers who may have expected to get near bottom mortgage rates, but now are seeing them rise, even though by historical standards they're still very, very low. So what she is telling customers is that in the early 90s, she tells a story about how in the early 90s, interest rates were astronomical and that they were north of 10% for mortgage rates. I was a person who bought a home in the early 90s. I paid 12.5% for an adjustable rate mortgage. And at the time, I was upset about it, of course, but at the time also, the inventory was huge and I had a lot to choose from, and I was able to move into a town in a location that I never thought that I'd be able to afford. The same thing is happening now. So whereas mortgage rates are rising, inventory is growing, and people are having to sell for lower prices than they would normally have. So the money, it goes somewhere. If it's not in the home value, then you're going to be paying it with the mortgage rate. So that's one thing that happens. There's much more to choose from for somebody who can afford to get into the market, who maybe couldn't afford to get into it a while back. That's number one. Number two is at the same time, mortgage interest rates were very high back to the 90s, so were savings rates. You could put money in a CD, a certificate of deposit, and earn 7 to 9%. That's unheard of. It's been unheard of for years. So if you say were a retiree, somebody who wanted to downsize, you didn't have a mortgage, you sold your house, you bought something a little smaller for a lot less money, or maybe you decided to rent, you took what was left over, what profits you had from the sale of that house, and you put it in a CD, and you were able to retire on the interest rate of that. So there are winners and there are losers. But the other moral to the story is this: just like what happens constantly, mortgage rates fluctuate. So they have been artificially low in recent years, really ridiculously low. And right now, they are at a place that is still historically low by all standards. So buying a house now with the price pressure, a house that's affordable, you are still getting in with rates that are historically low, and rates change. So should things go down significantly, you can refinance in 2 or 3 years. So that's her up story in this down market. It works. So let me share with you a few techniques about how you can tell your up story in whatever market you're dealing with. And as always, I'm going to refer to my notes, which are going to be right over here. All right, the first thing is clients want to hear from you. Do not hide. Do not hide. This is the worst thing you can do. A lot of people hide because, I don't know, maybe they think that the bad news is going to skip over them, that they'll just go to sleep for a couple of years, and when they wake up, everything will be the same. No, your business will be gone. It will be gone. The other thing is that they just don't know what to say. So part of the idea of going through this exercise is that there's always something important to say. Clients may not want to be pushed toward a sale. They may be feeling less flushed, like they've got less money, whether they do or not. but they do love a good education. So think of the things that you can educate your clients about, something that maybe they hadn't thought of. And also think about things that you can educate them about that maybe you don't sell. I know my clients always value it when I can refer them to someone in my expert network who I know will be able to fulfill a need that they have that I can't fulfill. Happy to do it. So that's number one. Number two is show up. All right, you know how I feel about this. Just writing and texting and emailing, people are unsubscribing by droves these days. So don't think anybody's going to open your email. They're too busy and they're just not interested in reading another how-to story. Instead, you want to pick up the phone at the very least. If possible, get in front of them. I know it's time and money to do that, but it may be just the thing that you need. Secondarily, you do video conferences. If meeting in person is king, then meeting by video conference is almost king. All right, if you meet live, that is. So try that. I often share, as I mentioned, information with clients that way by video conference. I meet with all my private clients by video conference. Video conferencing is much more reliable now than it ever was before. But another way, and of course my favorite way, is to get in front of groups of people. That means giving presentations. There are millions of opportunities to do this. I kid you not, there are more places to speak than speakers to place. Be one of them. Talk about getting out and educating. This is a wonderful use of your time. I don't know about you. I'd rather spend 1 hour in front of 100 people than 100 hours in front of one person at a time. Really good use of your time and expertise. Number 3, convey your passion. Don't be afraid to inject some emotion into what you're doing. What are your beliefs? What are your core beliefs? What do you hold dear? And why do you hold dear these things? Share these things and give them the emotion that they merit so that that relationship is cemented. The 4th principle is critical, and that is the money goes somewhere. If your client is not investing it in you, she is investing it somewhere else. Sure, that might be putting it away for a rainy day. It might be, but there's no law that says you can't be that ray of sunshine by showing that client how she can make an investment, again, either with you or somewhere else, that will give her a much greater return. Look, you've got to listen to your markets, you've got to know what their needs are, and you've got to be able to be flexible, and you have to adjust. But if you do these things, you will be able to leapfrog over your equally qualified peers, and better yet, you'll be able to leapfrog over your more qualified peers. You just have to constantly evolve to your customers' needs. Number 5, and this is the last thing I have to tell you, is certainty sells. You know, the story I tell in turbulent times is very similar to the one I tell in times of abundance, but with a twist. What I say in difficult times is that, look, it's important to be able to sell confidently, to sell a confident message when times are abundant, but it is critical when times are tough. If you're not showing instead of telling, you will quickly fall down to the bottom of your best customers lists, and you do not want that, trust me. I absolutely believe this to my core. I know it's true, and I am certain about it. Certainty sells. So what is it that you know that you're absolutely certain about? What do you think will work for your clients and customers? What is it that they need right now? What can they expect if they follow your lead? What could be characterized as a win-win? So I'm going to leave you with those things. If you want to learn more about how to manage your message in turbulent times, hop on over to ruthsherman.com. Please subscribe, and you can download my complimentary webinar video series and a whole bunch of other good stuff that'll help you on your journey. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. See you there. Bye-bye.